Bitcoin's at a really interesting point at the moment. It's put in a top pattern, it's dropped, and it's now retesting that top pattern. And as well as this, the market sentiment is really bad. Some of my OG friends are actually talking about selling their Bitcoin. I've even been actually thinking about selling some Bitcoin recently as well. So should we sell? Well, let's look into it in this video and see what we can expect in the week ahead. I'm also happy to announce that I'm partnering with Bybit, one of crypto's biggest exchanges. To celebrate that, we're giving away a PS5. So if you want to win that, stick to the end for more information. Okay, so let's look at the charts. Okay, we start with Bitcoin on the daily, and I filmed that intro last night and things have changed a little bit overnight, but not too much because they're still in line with my overall thoughts. We have this high that gets taken out and then this low that gets put in. This is the decision point to come up and take out this high. And then up here is what I really wanted to talk about. This is the key area. This here is a supply zone. This is a typical supply zone where price rips up, bases, and then drops, and then it comes to test the extreme of the supply zone before putting in a lower low, and then price is now pushed back up and is now tested the underside of that supply zone. So what we're expecting here is, if you're bearish, if you think this is a top, this should now follow through to the downside and it will put in a lower low, in my opinion, and come to this 105k level, which I've talked about on other videos. So what is also key at this point, and is capturing my eye, is that there's a little range at this point, which has kind of been broken overnight, but it can come back into it. And if it does, it'll be a very interesting thing. So we have price pushes up, puts in the range low, and then tests the range high, and it now comes back down and breaks the underside of that range. However, it could come back into that range, which is why I think it's going to be an interesting point for Bitcoin, where if it comes back up, puts in a high similar to this point here, and then puts in a lower low, then you've got your short. Then you've got the market telling you, yeah, this supply zone overall is being respected and we're going to have lower prices. And this is kind of what I'm looking for. This is why I think maybe it's a good time to sell Bitcoin. But on the other hand, what could happen is it could come back into the range, put in a low that doesn't go any lower, and then start to climb and break out to the upside, where we can start targeting a new all-time high. So the price action on this time frame needs to develop for that, but it looks like a more likely scenario that we're going to get a short that presents itself. So if you're trading on the higher time frames, if you're trading on the daily time frames, it might be a bit of a dull week if you're looking for confirmation, if you don't want to short this, as I don't just yet. I want a little bit more price action, but it needs time to develop. On the lower time frames, if we look at H4, we have more candles, obviously, and we have this overall bottom structure which gets broken, and then we have the decision point here on H4, where this is where the sell-off took place to come and put these lows in. So when price comes up, and I talked about this in my video the other week, it pushes up, you would expect a retest of that supply for price to drop down, but it doesn't. It puts in this decision point where the buying took place to come and push things higher. And then, as you can see, with the same range from the daily time frame, it breaks down and it's now wicking into that decision point. So this is the key area that needs to hold up for anyone who's looking to stay bullish with Bitcoin. If not, what I'd like to see, if I'm bearish, is some sort of continuation pattern like so, in order for us to go short to lower prices. And again, we need more price action for that. It's Monday morning, we've still got a bit of time. But again, also the other situation, like I said before, is it comes back into the range and then it suddenly can't find any selling to push it down, and then look for a continuation on the breakout above this range, and I would then be targeting all-time highs. So that's my view on Bitcoin for the week on H4 and the daily time frame. I wouldn't look any lower at this point because the overall market is very, very choppy. We've got a lot of ranging, and I don't think it's going to just settle itself in the next few hours, for example, or give some sort of pattern like this, either way, to the upside or the downside. But at this point, I'm neither bullish nor bearish. I'm looking more bearish than bullish for what I've just said, but I need more price action first to tell me if the pattern's going to come up so I can get involved in the market. On Ethereum, on the daily time frame, we have a very similar view for Bitcoin. So we have this big high that gets taken out, and then we have the continuation pattern that gets broken before pushing us up to new heights, and then only for it to fail and then come down and retest it now. So if you're bearish, if you think this is a top pattern, again, you kind of want to see another lower high gets formed within the context of this range, and then look for some sort of signs of a breakdown. And I'll be targeting about this area here, about 3,600, which I've talked about before. This is the decision point to put the buying in place that breaks this high and ultimately create this top. So this is a strong level down here. So if you are short, I would like to look at this level as a place for a potential reversal. On H4, again, you can see a bit more price action. We have this little level, which we've talked about before, which is bounced off of. This is the extreme of a chain on the lower time frames on H1, which I'll talk about in a moment. But prices, from what we're telling, what the story of price action is telling us, which is the main thing, is that it puts in a high, drops, puts in another high, and from here drops back down to test the support, gets broken, but can't hold above it. And at the first sign of support below this level, support gets broken, as we can see here. Puts in another lower high, drops back down to break the support, puts in a lovely little range at this point, and then has dropped from it. So similar to Bitcoin, again, if you are bullish, you would want to see it come up and then flip this level, but it's not really looking that great at the moment, is it? It would also be a good idea if you were bullish to wait for this move, this potential move, to get exhausted and look for reversals down here about 36, 3,700, or again, maybe on the lower time frames, if you're looking short, I would wait for something a little bit higher. Oops. At this point here, and look for that lower high to get put in at this point for a short, or maybe it comes all the way back up here, gets everyone excited and happy over potentially pushing back up, but then you look for your short. And in terms of targets, like I said, we have this chain down here where we have the previous high that gets taken out, and then this is a chain, and we always look to the extremes of these chains for our levels, and this is where the top one gets bounced from, and then if this top one breaks, it's going to this lower one, like it just is, and we've bounced from the top of it, as we can see at the moment. So I would say this kind of 3,780 to 3,600 is a potentially very good target for any shorts. But we'll see if this wicks and it does continue up, but for now we need more price action for us to tell what we can do next. And finally, and Solana on the daily, we have very big low, which gets taken out all the way down here. And then if we follow this all the way back up, we have this current area, which kicked off all that selling to take us down here. And then on a retest of it, instead of continuing, it is now failing. It started failing overnight. On H4, we can start looking at some levels. So locally on H4, we have a channel that's pushed up, and then we also have this high, which is sort of like the end of that channel, if you like. And sitting on that channel high, we have this level, this decision point. This is where the buying took place to come and push up to break this level and then ultimately test this high and break this high. So if we just mark that so we can see that it's been broken. There was a lovely little range here, which I went long from last week, which got broken overnight. So, and then I did say on other videos, if it does come lower than this 212 level is a really nice place to look for longs, because it's that decision point that broke these highs. And it's, as you can see, wicked down into it, and we have no idea what's going to happen next, essentially. So on H1, I mean, if you had bids down there, then happy days, but I'm not sure if it's going to follow through. For us to be sure of that, we have this supply zone that is sitting on the edge of this support. So what we want to see, if we think this is going to follow through, to be sure, is for it to flip this level, this resistance level. We want to see it break that and then continue up. Otherwise, it could come up and then put in some sort of reversal pattern in which we can short. And then I think that would still be a good target at 212. I still think the market overall looks relatively bullish, but this is a bit more of a reset to lower prices in order for it to climb higher. Things aren't really easy. People think crypto's easy. It's not. It does this kind of stuff all the time, and this is why I always say to look for the deepest retrace levels. So that's kind of the plan for Solana this week. But overall, we have to wait for more price action. All right, guys, do you agree or disagree with what I've been saying? Let me know in the comments below what you were thinking, and what maybe you're trading this week as well. Let me know what you're planning on getting involved with. Speaking of getting involved, I'm now partnered with Bybit, and as I said, we've got a PS5 that we're going to give away. We're also giving away $30,000 in deposit bonuses by signing up to my ref link, which is in the description below. All you have to do to qualify for the PS5 is sign up on that ref link, and then the person who does the most volume over the next 30 days on that link wins the PS5. Simple as that. As well as that, you'll have access to a private Discord server where I'll be doing market reviews and trade plans like this every single morning for you. And then also you'll have access to me to ask me any questions for any other charts that you're interested in. And I'll also post some educational stuff a little bit more regularly too. It's kind of a little group I want to make for serious traders, people that are really serious about improving their trading and being around like-minded people, particularly in the crypto markets, but maybe also the Forex markets as well. So hit the ref link in the description below, and once you've done that, message me on Twitter and then we'll get you involved in the group. Other than that, there's a live stream at 6:30 p.m. UK time tonight where we're going to cover everything from today and a little bit more. We're going to have a nice little hangout session, talk about some meme coins as well. So I'll see you there too. And if not, I have your next video somewhere up here for you and your viewing pleasure. All right, take care. Bye-bye.